What's up guys, my name is Andy. In this video, I'm going to be installing a new lower bumper or lower valance piece on my 66 Mustang. As I continue to get everything prepped and ready before I get the car painted, this is just another one of the pieces that I want to take off of the car, get it out of there and get something different in the front. And in this case, I'm going with the, I don't know if it's officially the GT350 lower bumper, but it's that style for sure. And then of course I got the brake ducts, which I'm excited about that. I'll be hooking those up. And then I'm gonna retain the front blinkers. So I made sure that that was opened up there. But I gotta take all this stuff off and then get this thing fitted to my car. So let's get started. Let's crawl underneath the car real quick and I'll show you the stuff we gotta take off. First thing, I gotta take this lip off, this front spoiler, get it out of the way, partly because it attaches to the frame here and I gotta get these pieces out of the way. And then we can go ahead and start removing the rest of this bumper. Or lower valance. We're going to take this bumper off and we're going to start by taking the bolts out from underneath here, and then we can take the brackets off that are attached to the frame inside here. So we'll go after these pieces first, then that one, and then we should be able to get this guy out of there. All right, we should be able to pull these bolts out and the bumper should come right off. Now I should point out, on your car you may have brackets here on this side and on this side that attach to the lower fender. Mine, they weren't there, but the hole's there, so you may have to take those pieces off. But other than that, this is how you get this bumper off. Now we'll go after the 4 on the front here. So now if you look from behind the fender here, you can see that there's a bolt right there and there's one up higher. We need to get those 2 out. And then notice also that the light system, the blinker system is still attached. We're gonna have to get that disassembled from the lower valance before we can pull that piece off. It's kind of hard to get the camera in there to show those last 2 bolts on each side, but once you come out, this is gonna wanna come off. I guess if you would have saved the 4 across the front for the end, maybe you could have held this. It didn't fall, but it does come loose once you take these 4 out of the corners. And I gotta take, there's a harness up inside behind the headlight here, so we gotta take this bucket off so I can get to the harness that's behind the headlight, but it's inside of the fender well. So let's get to the Phillips screwdriver and we'll get this out of here. And once you get the other harness disconnected, then we can go ahead and fish this through. And remember, we're gonna save this for the new bumper, but, or the new lower valance. And then we gotta take off these pieces still. Then we got a couple more of those bolts with you use the 1/2-inch socket to get this upper valance piece off. So let's get that out of the way. So the next part are these 2 brackets that are on either side of the car. And this may be the hardest thing to get off, depending on how good your bolts and nuts and stuff are in here. They may be rusted solid. You may have to cut these off. If you're doing the kind of bumper I'm doing, you won't need these anymore. That lower valance doesn't utilize the chrome bumper. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get these two brackets out of here, and really whatever it takes, because I'm not gonna salvage these because I'm not gonna need them. So let's get those guys out of there. Awesome, so this is the kind of handiwork that you're left with when somebody else gets a hold of the car. He welded this stud in place so that he could put that bumper on there, but that is just a rusted bolt. That's gonna stay right there. I may get this off, but thankfully I'm not gonna utilize any of that stuff. It's not gonna be in the way. So now we can come back and focus on getting this piece. And I think the easiest way is just go ahead and take the rest of the grill out so I can get this hood latch support brace out of the way. And to get this grill out, it's just 2 Phillips screws in either corner. There's some 8mm nuts along the bottom here, and then those 2 half-inch sockets to get those 2 bolts on the top of the grill piece. And that should free this up. And then there's just 2 Phillips screws that hold on either side of this trim, and then these just clips. They just clip into the slots down here, so you can basically just pull them out. Oop, and then the clips will slide out. We gotta get this guy out of here. Just like that. And we just have some more hardware underneath here that holds the center section. Now we can get these metal pieces off. Use a 7/16 socket. And the last piece I gotta get out of the way is this hood latch mechanism. And this might be a little harder because I can't get to the back of the nut on here. Let's see here. All right, the nuts are still sitting in this, behind this core support. I gotta fish those out. Don't wanna forget about those. Now that we got everything all cleaned up and ready to go, we can go ahead and start getting the new lower valence piece prepped for mounting. You wanna pay attention to these mount holes here, also one here on the bottom of the frame, something on this side, and those along there. Those will be the main mounting points, and then we're gonna have one here, and then here, I'm missing a clip, so I have to get that in there. But I went ahead and purchased one of those lower valence mounting kits. I've got all of the pieces from when we took the other one off, but this way I know everything's new and good to go and everything matches. I don't have mismatched bolts or anything like that. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just set this up there, and you're gonna wanna start from the bottom and kind of take the bottom lip of the of this new valance, this edge here. You wanna kind of catch it underneath here, then you're gonna kind of fold it over to where this top piece on this part here is gonna pinch onto here. It will hold itself in place, and then you'll notice that this isn't gonna line up perfect, so you're gonna have to kind of fine tune it, but let's get it put up there first. Again, we're just gonna catch this lip underneath here, same thing on the other side, and then just kind of fold it around, and you're gonna want it to center it just a little bit better because these surfaces are gonna be inside of this kind of cutout here on the core support. Now, I had cut out more of this for a large radiator. On most of your cars, you're probably gonna have a piece of sheet steel right here that this will just rest up against because there's this smaller opening for the radiator. With a larger cutout, this thing still fits, there's nothing wrong with it. And then, once we get it in place, see, it'll just hold itself. Haha, man, it's already looking better. I'm excited for this. Okay, so over here, you can see how, this doesn't really line up right. So you can kind of bend this around. We need to pivot this bumper piece down a little bit, but then it's gonna move over on that end. So it just takes a little bit of back and forth and trying to figure out exactly where it needs to be. I think I might need to trim the edge of this just a little bit on either side. I'm running into this rubber seal that I have here, and again, normally that wouldn't be a problem, but I don't want that to push on there, so I might just carve a little bit off, and I might take a little bit just right in here, take that off so that we can get everything to fit. Now we're way off over here, but I think it's because on this side, I'm trying to move it around. So this is where it's gonna take a lot of time of off and on. Take the bumper off, trim a piece, put it back on, and you're gonna wanna sneak up on it. Remember, you can't add any more easily, and you can, but it's gonna take a lot of extra work. So I'm just gonna take just a little bit off and just kinda work my way to where this thing starts to fit. And then we can put these guys on there, and we know, so this has gotta fit right inside here. This little tab fits inside that hole. But this is rubbing just a little bit. It's catching on this lip here. And you can see that we're gonna have to cut out just a little sliver right here for this piece to kind of slide through. And we can do that, that's not gonna hurt anything. But we're gonna have to modify this whole front lip of that upper part of the bumper so that these headlight bucket surround grill, vent, whatever things are called, will fit easily and we won't have a problem. So again, just taking your time, chipping away at it, sneaking up on stuff, and then you should be able to have a mounted bumper. So I'm gonna get after that real quick and see how far I can get. Whew. It's a lot of hours. In fact, it's starting to get dark out now. I've spent so much time this weekend trying to work on this and get it all lined up. So in my case, I was trying to line up with this, edge here on the fender with this bumper, and this is something where you'd have to do some body fill or something like that to get this thing, to push it down. It wasn't lining up with other stuff. If you push this down, it would come down below here, and this wouldn't curl right. And if you had the time to fabricate some stuff and mess with it and chop things up, it would definitely look a lot better. But I'm limited to my skill, and that's about as best as I can do. Some of you guys are probably gonna go, that's horrible. And some of you guys are like, hey, it looks great, punch it, let's go. And it's I guess to each his own and what they wanna do. Same thing on this side, I've got more of a gap here because of the way the sheet metal is pulling for this to fit, but this lines up better. So it is what it is. I did have to cut some of this out along the top here because of these, I don't know, headlight bucket grill piece things that fit inside here. There's little pins that fit inside these holes. You have to get those to line up, and everything has to bolt in place, and everything has to fit just right. And I had to trim that bumper. You can see how it would have been in the way, and it's all right. Once I get it all painted, it'll look fine, but that's just part of fitting this stuff. This fiberglass stuff is not, or whatever this stuff is, it's not perfect. It's not an OEM piece. Really, back in the 60s, these pieces, even the stock pieces weren't perfect. I mean, they probably fit a little better than this, but they weren't perfect. And I'm not going for some show quality stuff. I want just something that I'm gonna take out and I'm gonna beat up pretty hard. So in the end, this kind of stuff may not matter. I'm happy with it. It looks good. I did add a couple extra fasteners up here just to hold the top for keeping this thing secure. It still does pinch, like I was saying before, and I've got a fastener underneath here on the other side there, and it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. I like how it looks now, and I think I'm good. So normally I would put everything back together, put all the whole headlight bucket set up here, the whole grill and everything back in place. I need to do that before I take the car to get painted because I need to have all those pieces, because if I do stripes, I need to have everything located where it's gonna be so that the stripes line up with each other. But I need to take these fenders off because I got some other work to do, so I had to take all this stuff off anyways just to take the fenders off. So I'm just gonna leave it off for now, and but it's gonna bolt right back in because all the rest of the mounting bolts and stuff like that, everything goes right in the back in the stock spots where they were. So this was just getting this fitted up and making it fit right, but from here, everything just goes back into place and everything lines up, so it'll be fine. So anyways, all right guys, that takes care of that. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, I appreciate it because it helps my channel out, and we'll see you in the next one.